Okay, I'm here with Pastor Travis. I'm talking to him about Seth's trip to Guatemala, and in talking with Pastor Dave, the director of Teen Challenge, I learned some stuff about him down in Guatemala that I didn't know before, and Seth never really shared about his impact down there. And so I've got Pastor Travis here to talk a little bit about Seth's impact down there in Guatemala, because he was one of the chaperones down there, one of the folks going down. And so, Pastor Travis, if you would just elaborate a little bit about what you saw from Seth down there.
Yes, sir. The first thing that stuck out was he was a servant leader. And anybody who knows what servant leadership is, it's what Christ really was in his ministry. A story that comes to mind in comparison to Seth was that he'd be the one washing the people's feet. Instead of being the one where the feet was being washed. He every morning he would be there to cook breakfast. Anytime we needed him to do anything, he was always there for us as the missions team. He got us going each and every day. We worked in teams. We had 3 teams, and we worked shifts for who did what meal or who had what detail. Well, Seth was involved with everything. If it was not his shift, he would be a part of it. With the children, they latched on him real quick. They saw him as a very fun-loving individual. 80% of the females that are down there, they're all either molested or raped, and he was able to reach out to them and show them the kind of compassion that maybe a father figure or even a big brother is supposed to have. In the community, we did a block party, which was out in a rural, a very austere environment. The block party had children that wasn't living in a normal society, so it was very, it wasn't modernized at all. But the persona that he developed with those few hours, those children, they latched onto him once they got to know him. He really showed the love of Christ. I was really impressed with him. Out of everybody that was on that missions team, he was absolutely, without a doubt, the servant leader that I would have. Going on 3 combat tours with the military, I would look for soldiers like this to be able to serve with me. And if he was my soldier, I could always count on him to do exactly what the leadership needs to do to be able to better minister to these individuals that we needed to go to. Seth, I really got to see him blossom, per se. He really developed during that time in his life. It really opened his eyes to what ministry was truly about. It really reflects the heart of God through him, with the experience and the love that he showed towards everybody working with him or working for him, or if he was given a task, he never questioned authority. He never questioned what needed to be done. He just went and did it. When other people would get tired, he would finish his task and he would pick up the slack of others. That's why he was the most effective member on the team. I would do it all over again with him. If I had 10 individuals that I had to select to go, and I had 10 Seth Stewarts, boy, that would have been a missions team. Where some people got lazy and complacent, we never had to get on to him, not once. So he was the most effective missions person that we had on our team. And I appreciate the chance to be able to work with him and actually for him during some of the things we had to do. He's noticed that I was getting tired, and he'd give me the chance to get a break, and he'd pick up right where I was leaving off, just to make sure that I was rested. I really appreciated him. I appreciated the chance to be able to work with him. I know that if he applies the same qualities that he did on the missions team, anywhere he goes, he's going to be blessed. In a work environment, in his marriage, with his kids, with his family, he's going to do well, very well. I'm blessed to know him. I love him. And actually,
when he graduated the program, out of all the people that have graduated this program, he's the only one who I actually bought a steak for. The only one I bought a gift card for, and I actually wrote a card, and I signed him a card. Now, I know a lot of guys that have come through, thousands of boys, hundreds of boys who I've gotten to know personally, but he's the one I'm going to remember the most. I'm not supposed to have favorites now, but he is my favorite, and he's touched my life through his servant leadership, and I appreciate the chance to be able to get to know him. Thank you so much.
One more question. The main reason that I went, that I got the money together to send him down there, because it was a $2,000 cost to send him down there, was because another graduate of Teen Challenge and his dad were down here late last summer and said, whatever you do, send him there, because it'll change his life. It changed mine. Oh, wow. And so what I want to know is, what kind of things have you seen different about Seth before and after? Let's say after the trip. How is he different?
He's humble. It was a humbling experience for him. When he saw throughout the community what they didn't have and he had, it touched his heart. He didn't take things as so dramatic. For instance, he saw how people were struggling, and he saw exactly how good he had it, and it affected him. It dug deep within his heart. I remember this homeless guy that was on a street corner, and he didn't have a shirt on his back. He just was there in his shorts. He had no shoes, no flip-flops. He was old. He was sitting there with a cup, and we were given money to hold a little shopping center.
And by a little, I mean, it was little. It was like $40 or something, $20, something small.
Maybe. It wasn't that much. It was 100 quetzales, which is maybe 10. It wasn't even $40. It was maybe 10 or $15 U.S. currency. So it wasn't even that much. When we walked by, Seth looked at him, and I looked at him, and we walked by, and the Spirit of the Lord really spoke to our heart. And I remember looking at his face, and I looked at him and said, let's go back and pray for him. And Seth was the first. Let's go do it. So we went, we prayed for him, and Seth gave up. Even though we didn't have that much money, it was still his money. And he gave his money to the poor. And the man didn't speak English, but he was praising Jesus. When we have so much, he had nothing, and he was still praising God. I think at that moment, that's when it really started striking deep within him, because he saw this person didn't have anything. He was praising God for the little that he did have, and he was singing praises, and our translator was telling us what he was saying. And he was singing hymns in his native language. And it was life-changing to see that, especially with somebody that's so young as Seth is. It touches the heart. And those memories have been embedded. It's been burned and seared within his memory. That being here in this country, we have so much that's given to us, and his sense of entitlement, I guess that's what every American has, is a sense of entitlement. It was really stripped from him, because he says, we're really not entitled to tomorrow, and we're not entitled to this, we're not entitled to that. And that sense of entitlement was that God was just ripping it out of his heart. And you could see that it was humbling. Before we went to Guatemala, he was uncertain if he wanted to go, what he was going to do, how he was going to act. He was like, I really just don't know. And he went back to Jacob, which is first one to, which is very hard. Mm-hmm. And he did, but then he got selected to go back onto Isaac, which is our second platoon, which is basically where we get all our fundraising from and our missions mind. But when we went there, it opened up his heart. It really opened up his mind, and the people there were affected by the way he carried himself. They saw what Christians are supposed to be like. It doesn't matter if we're here or Guatemala, but it was a good experience for him. I would invite anybody in your local church, anybody with the capability to be able to run to one of these third world countries and see exactly what he saw, and see exactly how good we have it, the freedoms that we've been given as Americans. It's not offered there. They're very poor, and this exposure to him really changed his life. He's going to carry these memories for the rest of his life, for what he saw and how it affected him, not just in a physical sense, but also in a very emotional sense of how blessed he is. And I'm sure that this is probably not the last time he's going to end up going on one of these, because you start to appreciate being able to give and being able to appreciate to help others instead of help yourself. But again, I wouldn't have traded him for anybody on this trip. I got to know him so personal because I was up every morning with him, and I saw no other person on our team did what he did. No other person acted as he acted. No other person got up every morning to serve his comrades. It's a good quality, and it affected him. He's more of the individual now to give and give and give and give, and pour his life out into others. And I can see a drastic change between there and now. I never had to question his integrity after that. I never had to, what is he thinking? What is he doing? It was humbling for him. If I have to ask him today or 10 years from now if he'd do something for me, he'd be all over it like white on rice. It was an honor to work with him. It was a very good privilege to be able to work with this young man.
Okay. Does he mention anything about Guatemala to you today? I mean, since then, has he talked about it at all?
Oh, absolutely. He does. We developed friendships down there. This is not my first friendship that I developed down there. I was down there in 2010, and the same children that I met down there a couple of years ago